like to share with you some lessons that I have learned transitioning from an in-person and hybrid modalities to online modalities, which is the modality that I have been teaching my classes over the last 3 years. The first part is that it takes a lot of time. Even recording this video, I have tried several times. So it takes some time, right? Recording those lectures and having it, students don't like it super professional, but at least decent, it takes some time. The second, it's all really about time, what we'll be talking about here. So I like to compare in person and online, or make an analogy that preparing an online class is like writing a manuscript versus presenting a class in the modality of in-person is presenting a presentation at a conference, where you have the opportunity to be even last minute making changes, making edits. And it's not that you cannot do that in the online environment, because remember, even in person, there will be questions from the students that they want to have more clarity on things. You can make those edits before you post the presentation or the instructions or the assignment on Canvas. That's not the case of online. The way I see it is you want to be as prepared at least 90% of the class by day one. That way students start getting and accommodating to the rhythm of the class from that day without having to wait on you. You already have it set up, and then they accommodate to, they will structure their semester according to what you plan. So online environment allows to have tons of flexibility, and it requires tons of organization. And although the two of them seem contradictory, in the online environment, the two of them come together. This also aligns with the fact that in an online environment, you have to have a structure. And this structure, I have seen how in my spot survey, for example, the structure of the class, what students perceive as structure of the class, has increased over the last 3 years because it requires that structure in that organization. I also learned that, as I said, it requires time. So to prepare the classes from the beginning of the semester, I start even before the previous semester ends. So weeks before the semester ends, I'm already copying the course content, the syllabus, or the syllabi, making changes, and note that these changes are coming even before you hear from the spot survey. And if you use the Gateway surveys, those come also before those, and the Inquiry Institutes. So there are changes that are happening when the semester you have not submitted grades and you're already preparing the following semester. That's because the time in between semesters is short for online classes, especially when you have several of them. The instructions in an online environment have to be specific and short. And I have learned the specific part, not necessarily the short part. And I even run the assignment instructions by the LAs. Like, I ask my LAs to provide feedback, and they always have feedback. It's not like, it's perfect. They always have feedback. Professor, you didn't clarify this. How is it that the references have to be, the format, things like that. So they are a great way to make sure that you have instructions ready for classes. Something that is also crucial is to follow that schedule. I arrange the schedule on the syllabus, and I follow that schedule to the dot, unless there's something like a hurricane that you need to make changes. Other than that, I really go by that, because students are already following that and making changes in the semester. It's really tough for them, and it's tough for you as well. And this aligns with what I saw at a talk by Dr. Jose Antonio Bowen, how he says that the two things after COVID that students like is flexibility and structure. So for my major assignment class and for all the assignments in my classes, I give them some flexibility to submit the assignment late, with some point deduction, or sometimes even no point deduction, just having a larger window. So major assessments, I open the assignment assessments for the entire week, and I say assessments because I don't use exams. I'll be talking about that in a little bit, but I give them the entire week. So speaking of those, or before we speak about that, something that I think the online environment really helps, but I think it's also transferable to all the other modalities, is allowing students to make mistakes without penalties. Although the ladies have even told me, no, you should start taking points off if they guess the questions in your play posits or in the homework. I still believe that most of the students want to try and want to learn without guessing and without any penalty. And probably because that's the way I learn too. So that's why for me, it's important to give them these opportunities to make mistakes without any penalty. Life is different than that. So I want this college experience for students to learn from when they make these mistakes without a penalty. Now going to the exams part. Why I don't have exams? I've never been a fan of exam persons. Back when I was in college, I took it, and friends would ask me, how did it go? I was like, I don't know, done. I learned while I studied, and done. So I'm not being a fan of the exams. And I decided that I want to increase or foster or improve other skills in my students other than exam taking skills. And I know there are ways to do this, but I decided to go a different route, and I think the online environment is also helping me with this. So that's why I came up with the idea of the escape rooms for my genetics class, and with the help of the FIU Online Innovation team, I was able to deliver these escape rooms, and they have changed through time. The one that you will see in my package is the most recent one, which I think is providing students with that opportunity to show me that they are learning. Even if they have different attempts, they can answer one of those questions as many times as they need and show me their attempts. So I'm also more than willing to talk about the original idea of the escape rooms before it came into what you will see in my package. I also came up with the idea of the put it together in general human genetics and the main takeaway in evolution as a way to improve also their communication skills, their synthesis, transfer of knowledge, making sure they're making connections with real world situations that are relevant and current to today. So the evolution one has changed a little bit more than the human genetics one, but again, I'm happy to discuss those as well. My idea with all of them is that I want for students to use the resources that I give them. I even tell them, talk to the LAs if that's gonna help you understand the questions. And I also want them to improve their note-taking skills across all classes. I tell them, don't be like James Watson, who didn't take notes. Who didn't take notes in probably one of the most important conferences when he went to see Oswald Avery, and he didn't take notes there. They would have been able to decipher the DNA molecule structure a lot sooner should he have taken notes. So, and last but not least, I tied these assignments with self-assessment, that they self-reflect and self-grade themselves. I gave them some rubrics and parameters and guidelines as to how to grade themselves, and then I compare their grade to their work. So that's what I'm doing instead of exams, and that's the online environment. If you have any questions, please let me know.